Hello, YouTube. My name is Alan, and it's that time again. Let's talk metal. Or let's cough metal. For this episode, I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole I recently fell into that was all started by listening to one song. And several hours later, I ended up somewhere very, very different. So, this all began when I got a promo from a band called Decrepisy, and they have a new album coming out. Actually, it already came out in March called Deific Morning. Yeah, I'm on the Metal Archives page here to show you where the entrance to this rabbit hole began. And so, yeah, Deific Morning came out Carbonized Records back in March. I missed the promo when it originally dropped, so just got around to checking it out last week. And yeah, it's like, okay, thought it was pretty good. I've opened it up over here on YouTube, and let's take a quick listen to get a sense of what Deific Morning sounds like. So here's a clip from the new Decrepisy album. Start about right there and hope we don't get a commercial. And let's do one more clip as well. This isn't a Decrepisy review, I promise. So yeah, the band is doing a good job working in that kind of cavernous death doom style. They do have some different influences baked in also. You didn't really hear it in those clips, but there are some very disturbing, haunting, almost like psychedelic influences that also get infused into several of the songs. Now, when I played this through, the song that really stood out to me was the closing track over here, which is called After Hours, all one word. And that one sounds a little bit different. So let's check out the beginning of After Hours, because this is where the rabbit hole really begins. All right, so yeah, very dark and creepy, which is something they've done on a lot of the songs on this album. But this one has, a very minimalist approach, that kind of, pulsing, very trancy bass line and such in the background. The song very gradually builds, and you have almost more of like a post-punk kind of vibe when it finally kind of opens up a little bit later in the song. Definitely something different on the album. Caught my attention right away. So I was like, huh, that's a really cool song. I wonder what all the lyrics are. What are they singing about? So I went back over to Metal Archives, but no one has posted lyrics for any of the tracks yet. So I'm like, okay, rats. Maybe I can find some info about the track online. So I Googled, Decrepisy, After Hours, song lyrics, stuff like that, and ended up on a page where there was an interview posted with one of the band members, and they did talk about that song a little bit. And it turns out the song is a cover song. In the interview, I think they described it as a reimagining of a song rather than a cover, but okay, whatever. And it's a cover of an old Sisters of Mercy song. And when I read that, my immediate reaction was, wait, what? Because I know Sisters of Mercy's catalog fairly well. I dig their music. Granted, I haven't played it very often in recent years, but I used to have, all of the albums, and I like all of the albums quite a bit. So it really kind of left me scratching my head. I'm like, why don't I know this song by Sisters of Mercy? Well, let's check it out. What's their version sound like? So back to YouTube, and you type in, Sisters of Mercy After Hours, and yep, here it is. And let's play a snippet of that because I'm sure Eldritch is the kind of guy who's cool with people playing clips of his music on YouTube. We'll keep it short.
One more night spent on your mirror, Black Mariah in your eye. This stuck so strange and lonely, and fades in
So yeah, there is the track. That's it for sure. And it's a really kick-ass song. So I played it. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. But that actually confused me even more because I was like, how do I not remember this song from First and Last and Always? I like the album quite a bit. My knee-jerk reaction is that it's my favorite of the Three Sisters albums. I know, I'm supposed to pick Floodland. Everybody picks Floodland. Floodland is fine. I like Floodland too. I just like the debut a little more than Floodland. I even like the Vision Thing album. I know it's different in style, but I still think it's pretty cool. But back to this song, I'm like, have I really just completely forgotten this amazing song? Yeah, it's been a while since I've played the album. So let's go check. Now, I don't own a physical copy of this album anymore. I've got, the MP3s in a folder. So I pull up the folder, and there is no song called After Hours in it. I'm like, okay, well, might have been a bonus track on a different version or something. Yeah, I think I had like just a real simple, cheap CD version of it back in the day that I made the MP3s from. So like, okay, well, well, let's go figure this out. So we go to Discogs. It's like, all right, let's show me First and Last and Always. And oh my God, there's 90 different versions of it. Sigh. Now, I have not dug through every single different version of the album. I've looked through a lot of them, though. And if you start looking, what you find pretty quickly is that After Hours is not on the track list. You know, yeah, Black Planet, Walk Away, No Time to Cry, Rockin' a Hard Place, Mariah, First and Last and Always, Possession, 919, Logic, Some Kind of Stranger, no song called After Hours. And you're just going to need to take my word for it that you can check a lot of these vinyl pressings and a lot of these CD pressings, and there isn't one that includes After Hours. There's a chance it's a bonus track on some weird cassette press. I didn't look at the cassette pressings because I'm not interested in cassettes. And cassettes in the 80s sometimes did get a bonus track. But yeah, it's just not on this album. There's some later pressings with bonus tracks. After Hours is not among the bonus tracks. So I'm like, why does it show the First and Last and Always artwork over here with this? So we go to Google and type in something like, again, Sisters of Mercy, After Hours, First and Last and Always. One of the first things it wants to take you to, of course, is a Reddit link. Yeah, the Reddit thread has a link to this video and a few comments with people talking about it. Someone mentions like, oh yeah, that song's amazing. It's one of my favorite ones from the album. But I'm like, the song's not on the album. What are you talking about? It's Reddit, not the best source for, well, much of anything, in my opinion. So it's like, okay, let's poke around some more and try to figure this out. And you would do a different Google search for, I think I just literally searched this, is After Hours on First and Last and Always? And of course, now, whenever you Google something, you don't get hits at the top, you get the AI overview at the top. And the AI overview also says, yes, unequivocally, the AI has spoken. But yes, the song After Hours was included on the Body and Soul EP, which was part of the First and Last and Always box set by the Sisters of Mercy. Now it's interesting because, yeah, this blurb has changed over time. It's even different from what it read a couple of days ago. Um, it doesn't necessarily spell it out the same way, but yeah, now it really says the box set was a compilation of the band's early works, includes the 12-inch single. But again, it's making it sound like, yes, the song After Hours is on the Body and uh here it says on the Body and Soul is EP, but notice I'm asking about First and Last and Always. And the blurb here is now saying Napalm Records. But if you go and look at one of the citations over here that is from Rhino Records. Rhino puts out a lot of collections, anthologies, re-releases stuff. And when you go through the notes on the Rhino Records link, what you see is that, yes, they basically around 2015 did a box set version of First and Last and Always. And in the box set, they also repressed a bunch of early EPs. And one of those EPs is called Body and Soul from 1984, before the album came out. And two of the songs on that EP, were not available otherwise. And right here we are. Two of the four tracks, Body Electric 1984 version and After Hours, have only been available on the original 12-inch. But by 12-inch, they're talking about the 12-inch Body and Soul EP here. What AI has been answering most of the time when you type in different versions of this question is that it says, yes, the song After Hours is included on the debut album because it's finding it in this link about the debut album for being reissued. So yeah, and again, the answer changes slightly depending on how you type it in, because here it has a link to Napalm Records. When I've typed this in a slightly different way, you don't get the Napalm reference. You get Rhino and Wikipedia appear at the top instead. So it's like, okay, back to Discogs. Let's quit looking at the 90 versions of First and Last and Always. Get down here into singles and EPs, and we need the Body and Soul EP. Here it is. Oh, wait. After Hours isn't on the track list. What the hell? Ah, that's the track list for the 7-inch version. We need to look at the track list for the 12-inch version, which came with more tracks. This is a very common thing, especially among UK releases in the early and mid 80s. And not just in like gothic or electronic music, even in heavy metal releases. Think of all the cool Venom songs that were only available as bonus tracks on either a 7-inch or a 12-inch EP. And so, yes, finally here, if you get the 12-inch version of the Body and Soul EP, that's where the song After Hours was originally released. And it was not included on any version of First and Last and Always that I can find, except in that big box set from Rhino. But again, the box set from Rhino is essentially reissuing the album and those early EPs. So it's not like it's one extra track stuck onto First and Last and Always, even in that case. So here's where the track actually came from. Now I got to thinking, surely it got put on something else. I mean, Sisters have, lots of different collections. There's, slight case of overbombing and all that stuff. Well, it's actually a pretty hard track to nail down. But I did finally find it in one other place. A trick I learned a while back with Discogs is you often need to check things over here like compilations. Usually we think compilations like, oh, it's going to be on like, 10 gothic tracks, from the dark side type release. But on Discogs, compilations will also include reissues, maybe where like two albums kind of got smashed together or something. For example, Body and Soul and another EP called Walk Away got a reissue where they were both pressed on one album. So I had to scroll way down here and see what the hell is this thing. Well, this is a record store day release from 2024. Yeah, record store day releases, you can take them or leave them. Every now and then they do dredge up something really interesting. And this particular one from last year pressed the Body and Soul EP on one side of the vinyl. There's the same 4 tracks, including After Hours. And then the Walk Away EP is on the flip side. So with this, you get, I think the total's a little under 30 minutes. It's maybe like 27, 28 minutes. So it's almost like getting a little miniature Sisters of Mercy album that includes some tracks that really never made it onto much of anything else. And since it was just released last year for Record Store Day, there's plenty of copies available in like, the, $25 to $35 range. So the story has a happy ending. I ordered one of these copies several days ago, and it's arrived in the mail. And so, yeah, this is the record store day version with the Body and Soul EP, and then the Walkaway EP artwork for that's on the back. And it comes on kind of a cool, smoky looking blue vinyl. If you're into colored vinyl, which I am fine with. So yes, I actually finally, was able to run the song After Hours to ground. Really only available on the EP and this one reissue compilation thing, and on the Rhino Records if you want the big expensive pressing of First and Last and Always box set. So, circling back to where we began then with Decrepisy, where does this lead us? What did we learn from all of this? First off, be careful what rabbit hole you venture down. It took me a few hours to dig through all this mess last week and finally find the track. It is a good reminder that Reddit comments are often, complete garbage. We also have to be careful about, images, on YouTube. I don't know why somebody who posted this song included the artwork from First and Last and Always. Maybe they did buy the Rhino box set. That's where, the tracks were available for a download. So maybe they bought it, downloaded it, uploaded the song, and put the artwork from the album instead of the EP here? I don't know. Confusing. I would have put the EP artwork here instead. But yeah, also AI doesn't get everything right. And that's not unique to AI. This was a topic where you had to read things carefully to figure out what was going on. In this press release from Rhino, yeah, it's about First and Last and Always. And if you just skimmed it, you might see things like the song title After Hours and the songs included. Well, and there you go. That's basically what an AI overview is doing. It's reading these things and compressing it down into like a short little blurb. But that's a good way to get things wrong too. And we see this happen not just with AI or Wikipedia, you see it with real human journalism as well. I come across it in science quite a bit because scientists are trying to explain a concept to a journalist who doesn't have a science background. And the scientists will try in a lot of cases. They really will. They'll use the shortest, smallest, most digestible words they can to try to get the point across. Like, here's how this thing works. But then the journalist goes and writes it up, and they get it exactly backwards. You read the version the journalist published, and sometimes it says exactly the opposite of what the scientific publication would state. When you're trying to do things that require a lot of detail, maybe need some context, it is very easy for things to get garbled up. And that's kind of what happened here. Again, type in this question slightly different ways, and you start getting slightly different answers, but it keeps saying that, if you just say, is after is on here, AI says yes, it is. No, as far as I can tell, it is not. It has never been on the album. But even here, it's talking about the EP. That's not what was asked about. So, yeah, everyone talks AI is ready to run the entire universe. Maybe it will be by next Thursday, but it still has issues understanding things. It's the same way humans have issues understanding things. So I guess the final word here is do your own homework, check the links, go to some of the original source material rather than just assuming AI is going to give you the perfect answer every single time. All right. But yes, long story short, at the end of the day, did find a really cool new release from Decrepisy that included a really cool cover from Sisters of Mercy, and the original Sisters of Mercy track kicks ass. I really do think it's one of the darkest and best songs in their catalog. And once you know what to look for, it's not that hard to get a vinyl copy if you're okay with the record store day thing. You can get the original 12-inch too. Might be a little harder to track down or a little pricier. And the record store day does give you the other EP as bonus tracks, which I'm cool with. So let's wrap this up here. Has this ever happened to you? This feels like one of those things that only happens to me, but I'm betting something similar may have happened to some of you. Did you ever start out with a song and while trying to figure out where it came from or what the details about it are, you had to do a whole lot of digging to get the answer that you wanted? If so, please, leave your story in the comments down below for other people to enjoy too. These kind of things, it makes a good story, if nothing else, which is why I decided to share this whole experience on video. But again, there are some lessons to learn here too about checking things very carefully, not just glancing at a comment or taking the very first thing Google tells you as gospel truth that's carved in stone, but actually, going to some of those source links of material, especially if you're finding things that seem contradictory. If something is telling you that, yes, it is on an album, but you've looked through a whole lot of pressings of the album and you're like, I'm not seeing it anywhere. There's some granular level of detail that's getting lost in the mix here. You got to dig a bit deeper. If that's happened to you, please leave your story down below for others to enjoy and learn from as well. Maybe they'll find some other cool songs like you did and like I did with the track After Hours. All right, that is going to do it for this time. So Until next time, everybody take care. And as always, keep banging your head while I find the button that says stop recording now.